What is the most disgusting secret you're hiding right now? When my sister and I were little, she would lick her cat because she thought she was helping to clean him. As a student with a shitty waitering job paying me almost nothing, I used to eat the food my customers didn't want after I took their plates to the kitchen. Been there, mate. It was like a second fucking payday if someone forgot about their to-go order. Unethical life pro tip: call in a to-go order shortly before closing, then take it home when never claimed. I dropped a human brain once in prep class and put it back like nothing happened, and everyone was wondering what kind of head trauma that person died of. Edit: I was a TA, teaching assistant, to the professor for human anatomy and preparatory class. Part of my job, I studied biology and am a trained preparator turned mortician and am specialized in reconstruction, was to prepare donor bodies for upcoming classes. The good ones would have noted the trauma occurred post-mortem. The newbies would have thought, is this that kind of lab? Actually, it was an entire freshman class that day. I was present for class, and after lots of guessing, the prof said, "Oop, he dropped it." It was hilarious. At least to me. I had to clean up just one puke that day. My younger brother used to eat the dog food because he thought it would make him better friends with the dog. We began to leave a bowl out for him next to the dog bowl. You shouldn't have let him eat that. Now his babies will be born naked. Animals. When I was younger, I would steal coins from my parents, and when I had enough, I would bring them to my dad and had them changed to paper bills, and he would be so proud of me for saving coins that he would buy me ice cream or sweet bread. He knew. Yes, he absolutely knew. 10 years ago I used to do the same shit. Recently, about 2 years ago, my dad told me that he knew what I was doing. We had a good laugh. I love you, Dad. I made up a person. When I was in high school, I wanted to sound more popular, so I made up a guy friend. He had an incredibly interesting backstory. This went on for years, well into college. I had the same friends, so I couldn't just end the charade. The funny thing is, all of these people, my family, my best friend, even my husband, believe that they met this man. I never introduced them to anyone, but over the years, they all have different memories of seeing him. Finally, I just sort of phased him out, saying that we grew apart and lost touch. And yet, people will randomly ask me for updates on him. I just give vague answers and watch my husband smirk from across the room. My husband is the only person who knows the truth. I am so ashamed that I will never admit it. That lie was such a dumb thing that snowballed. It's crazy how memories are so fluid and unreliable. We had a candy corn counting contest in like 4th or 5th grade where you guess how many are in the big jar. When no one was looking, I carefully took the tape off the top thinking I was going to count them all or something, and saw that they had written the total on the inside of the top, so, being a genius, I took out about 30 of them, ate the evidence, and put my guess in for the number -35, so it wouldn't be suspicious if I got it on the nose, not realizing they weren't going to recount them. The winner guessed it within 20 of the number on the bottom of the lid. So basically, I cheated, sabotaged, and still lost, and I kept all that stupidity to myself for all these years. That there is someone on my Facebook who is lying about her dad passing of cancer whilst her eldest daughter, 8 years old, is fighting a brain tumor. It is all lies. Her dad is alive and well. Her daughter is completely healthy. One of the pictures she used as proof is her daughter lying on a hospital bed. From what I know, she was just in for observation after a small fall. She has 2 Facebook profiles, one for all her family and friends of the family, and the second one, that I'm friends with, is for old school friends, general acquaintances, and anyone she dates, etc. There's so much more lies, but those 2 ones are the ones I know 100% to be false. Edit: this went a bit mental. I tried to confront her, this was last year, and she denied it, going as far to provide screenshot messages between her and her sister. However, the reason I knew it was bullshit was by speaking to her mom and passing on condolences. Yep, didn't go down well. Her mom accused me of being mistaken until I showed her screenshots of the posts. She didn't reply. That's when I confronted the liar by message, countering her screenshots with the ones between myself and her mom. I was swiftly blocked. Uncle confided in me that he stopped taking the medications that are keeping him alive because he can't handle the weight of his life. Currently trying to be there for him as much as I can, but haven't told anyone because I feel like it's his choice, and I'd likely want the same in his situation. He's just worn out and feels like he's done his time, and has already done what he can for the people around him. Reminds me of my uncle. We each have a rare muscle condition that will probably put us in wheelchairs later in life, and found out he's been doing meth and robbing homes to fund it. I love him so much, it hurts to see him doing something that will hurt others as well as himself. That last year when I was suspended from work for 6 months, it was due a failed post-accident drug test. I wasn't laid off. I got nudes from my best friend's mom. I secretly broke a 2,500 euros printer. That is rare and precious. I just fixed it just enough that the second person using it got blamed for this and almost expelled from school. Maybe the person before you did the same thing to you. It's a tradition, going back generations. I've done similar things. It's because how our society works is that admitting guilt is a bad thing. If you admit you did something wrong and are sorry, you get the blame. But if you hide it, you let someone else take the blame. This is why I think we really should encourage people admitting to their mistakes, because everyone does them. In biology class, we were dissecting a pig's eyeball and my hand slipped and the eyeball fell on the floor, and me being extremely lazy, I kicked it under a cabinet, and it lay there for 2 years until someone finally found it. I'm just picturing some unfortunate cleaner randomly finding this fucking desiccated eyeball. I've cleaned biolabs, and a desiccated eyeball isn't even very high on the list of disgusting things we find. Once body parts are dried up, they hardly smell at all. That classroom was notorious for being very humid, but the smell wasn't a big deal since nobody really sensed it. I once found a chocolate bar in a trash can when I was waiting at the bus stop. I ate it. If it was still in the wrapper, no biggie. That I hit some kid in the back of a trampoline park with a chain I grabbed off of a fence because he kept poking me. My wife went out drinking with co-workers and got shit-faced. I had to struggle to get her inside. Blackout drunk, crying, puking. It was a nightmare, and not the first time doing this. After putting her to bed, I shit on the driveway next to her car door and told her she did it while drunk and told her the neighbor saw her do it. She found it going to work the next day. She has not went out drinking since, and this was 4 years ago. If she does drink, she's one and done. Edit 1. Yes, we're still married and very happy. 2. It started as a prank. BC, we are that couple that loves to prank each other. 3. I let her believe it for a couple of days, and after I seen a positive change in the woman I loved, I didn't dare change the scenario due to drinking like that. It's good for anyone. 4. I don't care if she finds out, she would be impressed I didn't tell her sooner. BC, that shit changed her life for the positive. 5. She no longer works where she did and never talked to the neighbor again. We were actually looking for a new house that we now live in. My one friend has no idea that I've known that he doesn't have kids for months. Also that I know he's been saying this and lying to everyone for attention. He tells a very convincing story. He goes into vague details, has a photo of the girl, says that she's been showing him fake paperwork as proof for the children. If what he says is true, would be literally extortion. Everything. Little does he know that I've been watching closely and also researching to find this woman. I know she isn't real and that he's lying and been lying this whole time for almost a year. Nothing he says makes sense, and it just keeps escalating, which also doesn't make sense. I literally couldn't help myself but investigate. If everyone finds out that he's been lying this whole time, it will spread like wildfire. He doesn't have many friends, and the friends he did have stopped talking to him because of his compulsive lying. I had a friend like that in college. I talked to him about it, and while he took it super hard at first, I gave him examples and he broke down. It turns out he had been so severely bullied for his whole life that he had absolutely no confidence in being able to attract and keep people in his life without those lies. It took a lot of time and work on his part, and me kindly and patiently reminding him when he slipped on my part, but he changed. I gained a solid friend as a result of my being willing to stick around and work with him through it. It was a life-changing experience for both of us. I used to lie. Like a lot. I used to make up stories to tell people, just for the sake of it. I don't do it anymore, although this leads me to telling the same stories over and over. As a teenager, I was abroad with my class. I shared a room with 2 other girls. One morning I went to the toilet, and take a dump. I was shocked as I saw that the toilet flushing was not strong enough to wash it away. I panicked, so I grabbed it with toilet paper, wrapped it around and threw it as far as I could out of the window. I loved ketchup so much as a kid that I used to have it with cereal sometimes. Mother of Jesus. What is the most disgusting secret you are hiding right now? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.